was just driving by and saw the roof of this, whatever it is. This area has been settled for many years before and during the Second World War by Germans. This is so-called Sudeten land. Basically, it was part of Czechoslovakia. It was Czechoslovakia as it was called at that time, but people who lived here were mostly or completely Germans, not Czechs. And after the Second World War, when Hitler lost, the Germans who lived here, they very much supported Nazis, and after the war they were expelled to West Germany. And when they were expelled, they were allowed to take only what they could carry, which was not much. They didn't get compensated in any way for their property, for land, for buildings, for businesses, nothing. So this was basically empty land shortly after the war. And what happened was, Czechoslovak government tried to resettle Czechs into those lands, but not, even though it was basically free, not that many people came. Of course, there was a lot of looting because, as I said, Germans who lived here were allowed to take only things they could carry. I don't know what it was, 10-15 kilograms, not much, and that was it. And the houses for living, basically family houses, farmhouses, were given to Czechs who were willing to relocate and lived in those areas. But obviously this is not a family house, and it was not given away, but also it was not used. You can see it's really abandoned. I cannot really say for sure if it was a German owner or if by some happenstance it was owned by a Czech family, because buildings like this, even if they belong to Czechs, were also confiscated by the communist government. By the way, there was an army base in this area originally during the first half or the beginning of the 20th century. It was Czechoslovak army, then Wehrmacht, German army, took over during the Second World War, and after 1968, when Soviet Union occupied Czechoslovakia, it was taken over by the Red Army. And when the communists fell 30 years ago, the Czech government decided that it will be basically a nature area. Of course, people live here in some places, but as I said, it's relatively sparsely populated. Would you be surprised, as I was, if I told you that this is the fourth largest town or city in Czech Republic? It's kind of interesting to think about it, because less than 3,000 people live here nowadays, and the reason is the number 4 in Czech Republic is because of the area. The area of the whole town is about 300 square kilometers, which is absolutely huge, and most of it is forests. For the war, the whole town had about 7,000-8,000 people living here. Now it is less than 3,000. I think it's 2,600. It's really a village. Actually, it's 8 or 9 villages spread over 300 square kilometers. The first mention in history of this town was in the 13th century, so it's actually pretty old. Not that anything survives from that time. Small museum here about munition, I guess. This is about how they cleaned up the place after the Russians left, because there was a lot of ammunition and mines and contamination of all kinds everywhere. And it happened February 12, 1990, that the Russians left and the Czechs took over. This is the entrance to the little museum. And this is a small place packed with all kinds of stuff that the Russians left behind. The man who owns this museum was actually a part of the group that has been performing the cleanup, and the cleanup is not completed yet. 30 years later, still most of the stuff is in the ground, unexploded. And as we can see, he collected really a lot of things over the years. Ammunition, landmines, uniforms, documents, really, really a lot. I mean, if you are into this kind of stuff, you could probably spend some time here exploring, but I just kind of looked at that and left after a while. Not that it was not interesting, but after a while it just overwhelming what was left behind. Hand grenades also. I mean, if you are an enthusiast or a collector, you would probably like to visit, I think. But for me, it was enough. So I think this will be it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Take care. Goodbye.